everyone, my name is Jessica Schwartz.
My name is Dana McWilliam.
I'm Samantha Knock.
And I'm Natalie Finkelstein.
And the title of our research project is The Identification of Speech Errors by Native English Speakers and Late Learners of English, Speech and Language Clinicians. When we started to come up with a research topic, we knew we were interested in accents, and we started by looking at ASHA's position statement related to accents and different dialects. And we found this one from 1998 that supports the idea that students and professionals in the communication sciences and disorders professions who do speak with accents and or dialects can effectively provide speech language therapy and audiological services as long as they have the expected level of knowledge in normal and disordered communication, also the expected level of diagnostic skills, and the ability to model the target phonemes, grammatical features, or any other aspects of speech and language that characterizes the problem of the client. We also became interested in comparing SLPs who were native English speakers to late learners of English. So we started to look into research relating to the age of second language acquisition and having an accent, which is often referred to as the age of learning, or AOL. We found a study that said if L2 acquisition had begun by 6 years of age, there was no transfer of accent from L1 to L2, but if L2 acquisition began after 12 to 13 years of age, there was a marked accent transfer from L1 to L2. Another source that we found said that there was a strong relationship between the age of learning of second language learners and the perceived degree of foreign accent when producing English. So, and that study also found a critical period of 15 years for having a perceived degree of foreign accent. So using these studies, we decided to use our criteria for a late learner of English as having learned English after 13 years of age. So just to continue with a brief literature review, we found a study that examined vowel perception of Spanish-English bilinguals who are considered to be proficient and or non-proficient, suggesting that the vowel systems of Spanish and English are very different. So we did find a lot of articles having to do with speech perception when it comes to accents, and we thought that this study suggested that it might be difficult for a native Spanish speaker to perceive English vowels, since the vowel systems in the languages are different, and English has a lot more vowels than Spanish does. Another study from Clark and Garrett in 2004 said that listeners have the ability to process and adapt very quickly to accented speech. This study was conducted to determine how much or how little experience is needed for significant changes in speech perception to occur when someone is listening to accented speech. And then Hicks in 2010 conducted a study involving the transcription abilities of SLP graduate students when listening to speakers of African American vernacular English. We also plan to use graduate students in our study, so we thought this was an interesting study, and we want to examine their ability to identify speech errors, so that kind of goes along with transcription abilities. Criticos in 2003 sent out a survey to SLPs about assessing bilingual and bicultural individuals, and it showed that SLPs who learned a second language, either by cultural experience or through academic study, reported being more confident in assessing bilingual clients when compared to monolingual speakers.
The rationale for this experiment is based on ASHA's position, indicating that speech-language pathologists who speak with an accent or non-standard dialect should not interfere with the ability to diagnose and treat their clients. However, while investigating this point, we found that there's actually a lack of research suggesting that this is in fact true. So we figured that it would be a great idea to explore deeper in this area. So The aim of our study is to determine if in fact speech-language pathologists who are late learners of English can detect the same speech errors as native English speakers. Our research also seeks to investigate if there's a strong correlation between the age an SLP has learned English and the accuracy of the speech error detection. And as Jesse mentioned earlier, the criterion for considering a late speaker of English is age 13. So for our hypothesis, we actually decided to play devil's advocate against ASHA and took the position that speech-language pathologists who are native English speakers will be able to detect a greater number of speech errors when compared to late learners of English. The null hypothesis, on the other hand, states that the age at which an SLP learned English does not affect the accuracy at which they are able to detect speech errors. The alternate hypothesis states that SLPs who are late learners of English detect speech errors with greater accuracy compared to native English speakers. Now the good news is that either way, the results are going to be interesting. So if we find out that speech-language pathologists who are native speakers of English are able to detect more speech errors than non-native speakers, that's interesting, and vice versa. And we look forward to conducting more research in an area that seems to be lacking.
Now, after formulating the hypothesis, we selected the appropriate target population for the study, and we anticipate that the number of participants to be comprised of 25 native English speakers and 25 late learners of English. So the criteria that we used to recruit the participants who were late learners of English were those who learned English after 13 years of age. Now the procedures will be sent to the participants via an online survey. The participants will be initially recruited through the Mercy College Communication Disorders Department, and the link to the online survey will then be dispersed to other speech-language pathologists within the area. The participants engaged in the study will then be encouraged to share the survey with other speech-language pathology clinicians and students. For the procedure, now after the participants have been provided with an informed consent document, practicing clinicians and student clinicians will be prompted to complete an online survey. The survey contains questions pertaining to demographic information, including languages spoken, time spent in the United States, and proficiency in English. After completing the survey, the participants will then be provided with 6 video clips, short in duration, of children with and without speech disorders. And after viewing each clip, the participants will be asked to select which type of speech error they hear in a multiple choice format. So an example of a multiple choice answer for a possible speech error would be substitution of a consonant. So there are 2 variables